Mashada rain dabadoo blah da.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to ARTBOX. Today's guest has kind of been on the channel before. We've done a few things on the Lemon Squid channel, so go check that out if you get a chance. Today's guest is Robb Coleman. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well, man. How about you?
Not bad. I ate a bunch of Chinese food and took a nap, and
Nice.
feeling pretty restored.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you have to eat. You have to take the nap after, because after I eat Chinese food, I feel really slow. But if I recharge with a nap, I'm back to normal speed.
Oh yeah, everything went real slow until I crashed into the bed.
Yeah.
Why don't you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
My name is Rob. I'm in a band called Massing. Probably is like the main one, I should say. I think. I also play in a band called Down and Round 3. I mix music for myself, but also other local musicians in the Huntington area. I am a graphic designer, and I do all kinds of art. Not all, not like every single type of art, but I do many different things: visual art, music.
Yeah, I seen you guys start a what was it? A live like drawing show?
Yeah. We started to do we started to stream on Twitch. I think we already had an account and we just had never used it or something. But yeah, we started streaming on there, and one thing that we do is for Massing we make trading cards, and they're all based on like things that are from our songs. So it's like a song could be a song title, or like a member of the band, or like a venue, or I don't know, some notable thing. And they're usually like funny and goofy, and they're different, all kinds of different art styles. But we thought it'd be a fun idea to stream while we draw some ideas for that, and then maybe take ideas from chatters. So yeah, hopefully we'll be doing that more often, because that's pretty fun.
Yeah, I tuned in for a second because I don't actually have a Twitch account, so it doesn't like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have to have an account for like that to be like credible to you guys.
Right,
but,
if it like pops up in the like data or something, I don't know. I have no idea how to use it at all. But
right, I've only ever keep popping into my friends' streams, and it's about time I just make an account so I can start commenting, because I can't say anything every time I jump in.
Yeah, that's what I did, because a few years ago my girlfriend was streaming, and a friend of mine, Cole, I think he still streams sometimes, but he was hitting it really hard in quarantine, and in order to like interact with them, I was like, I should probably just make an account, because I mean I don't really watch people stream. I know that's apparently millions of people watch people stream, but I don't. I never do that.
Yeah, it's not something I really find myself into, but like every time I have a friend or like family member that's doing it, it's like then I'm gonna pop in,
right? Yeah,
and I usually have something to say. If it's one on YouTube, my brother, they do one. Sometimes it's a gaming stream, and I find myself all the time wanting to say something or help out with the audio, because like the audio wasn't working at the beginning of one of them, and I was like, hey.
Yeah. And they can never tell on their end like what it sounds like. It's hard to.
I didn't know that's how you guys developed the what goes on the trading cards. I love that concept.
Yeah, they're usually just from songs. It'd be really fun to get some actual cards made that are like other people's ideas, or like viewers' ideas. Hopefully we'll get to that soon. We're trying to expand the trading cards.
I'd say after a while you'll have like a huge variety that would be like the whole compendium of what Massing is,
Yeah. All of the extended lore.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's go ahead and talk about your band Massing, because that's kind of my first introduction to you, other than us being straight on an art show. I immediately went and checked out your guys' music afterwards, and I love it, man. The variety is plenty, and at the same time, you still sound like the same band. Like, you're obviously like, I know your guys' voices now. That's you guys, but the music is like you guys hit from alternative into you guys had. Well, I'm just now realizing how much horns Heath plays.
Yeah.
And Yeah, there's just so much variety in what you guys do. It's wild. What roles do
Cool,
you
thanks,
play in
man.
massing?
I guess like first or like primarily, I guess I would be songwriter. Um, I also I guess you would say producer in a kind of a loose sense. Because most of the songs are either begun on my computer or on Heath's computer, and then we like, swap files or something. But we recently have started recording in person, and that's what we did with that last EP, Rejuiced. So Jeff played a lot bigger of a role in engineering and the recording and stuff like that. But prior to that, that's all me. But I
Nice.
loved working with Jeff on that, and I think that's what we'll do in the future. Kind of sidetracked from what I was saying, but I do that. I play guitar. I play like keyboards on not live or anything, but on the recordings. If I think a part needs keyboard, I'll play
I'm the
bass
same
on the
way.
recordings and
I
stuff.
think
Yeah.
like I don't I at the moment I like where I am now I'm more prolific in like drums and
Uh
guitar,
huh.
but like I can pick up the keyboard and obviously the whole skill's
Yeah.
still there. And I
Yeah.
can I can I can use it as a accompaniment probably to a
Mhm.
recording, but I couldn't even play that live for my buddies at the moment.
Right. No, I always say I'm not fluent with piano. Like with a guitar, I can think of an idea like with the guitar. Like I don't have to figure out what it is and then play it. I can just like. But on a piano or a keyboard, I'm a little more like, okay, let me pick this out. What's that? What's going on here? So I couldn't like sit down and play a whole song or anything. But if I think a part needs me to go like this on the keys, like pop, 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 I'll hop on there real quick.
Yeah,
Um,
get some eighths in there.
yeah. But other than that, I mean, I sing as well. Heath is kind of like the main vocalist, and I'm a little more secondary, I suppose, or support even. And I mix the music.
Right, right. We're gonna get into some of that too.
Yeah.
Um, so I met you guys through Austin, and you guys like you, but you and Heath know Austin. For the viewers, Heath will
Hmm.
be on the show very soon, so
Nice.
that's why we keep mentioning him. um, how did you guys all meet? How did massing start?
Massing started because I went to Marshall, and it's weird because me and Heath are not the same age. Like I'm a few years older than him, but because I was behind in school, I like serendipitously got put in the same graphic design one class as him whenever I transferred to Marshall.
Nice.
So we just like became friends. Like I don't even know what the first thing was that made us be friendly, but we probably were just saying stupid shit under our breath in class and like making the other person giggle or something. But he had I think I've said this on a different podcast or something, but he had a Pokemon sticker on his laptop one day. Well, the whole time, but one day I was like, hey, I like Pokemon. Duh. And so we kind of just, yeah, naturally kind of evolved from there. And we talked about doing an acoustic project, which we basically did not do, but that evolved eventually into massing. And at first, it
Nice.
was not supposed to be a live thing. It was like a side project, and it was all supposed to be just like, okay, we'll do this for fun, really quick, like almost electronic. Like the songs have beats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I think I don't know, we kind of moved away from that, but we're still trying to incorporate that. But that's not like the only thing. Now
I'm a
there's like
big
real
fan.
drums and stuff.
Right. I'm
Hmm.
a big fan of some bands I can think of are not really I don't know if they're a band, like Glass Animals, like the
Yeah,
use of those like keys and digital
yeah,
instruments. Like you can only do so much if you only have so many people on stage, and
right. Yeah,
so
that's
like
kind of like the vision for me is like, okay, we did the heavily all computer thing, and then we just did the more
Mhm.
live kind of sounding EP. So now I'm like, okay, what I want to do next is just combine them as much as possible. So like maybe
Nice.
there will still be songs that are totally live sounding, and then there's some that are totally computer sounding. But I would really like to just blur those lines as much as possible.
Yeah, go heavy into it. I've been listening to a lot of Daft Punk myself, so
Yeah,
anything
nice.
if any use of like distortion along with like
Hmm.
electronics sounds insane to me. I love it.
Yeah, angry. If you can make it sound like an angry robot in any way, it's pretty cool.
That's pretty much the sound, yeah.
Yeah.
There's two other members, correct? I'm not familiar with them yet.
There's I guess there's 5 members. I don't mean to say I guess like they're not really in the band or something, but like at first it was just me and Heath, and then we had other people. Like everything until Rejuiced is basically written by just me and Heath, and there was like a few songs here where Jeff played drums, and like one song we got Corey on guitar, but for the most part it was just us. But now we want to include them in the writing process for like, you know, whenever we do an album and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So they're full member. Like that's kind of like Rejuiced. That EP is kind of like a reboot of the band. So it's like, okay, showing you kind of greatest hits, I guess, in a way, but like this is how we would do it now. Like if we have new stuff, you can kind of expect it to sound like a little more in this realm. And I think
setting a new
Corey,
standard.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I almost would point to Corey as being the one who specifically drives it with like his own, like bringing a different flavor into it that we don't already have. But honestly, Corey plays guitar, Jeff plays drums, and Pino plays bass. And this sounds like I'm just like glazing my bandmates because they're my bandmates, but they genuinely all bring such style and personality to like what they're playing, as well as just being really proficient and like playing the right thing. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to involve them in the writing a lot more. I probably didn't even answer what you asked me. I was yapping. I'm sorry.
Oh no, that was basically it, because I was asking how many because I noticed I at least clocked 2 other people. I was like, I noticed that I haven't seen them in the like promotional material as much. Like the band, there's band photos, but then there's like what you guys are able to do like almost daily, and I didn't know if that was because like you two are closer, like in distance and stuff, or like
we all kind of. I think we do live the closest. Heath and I out of anybody, but everybody else lives like fairly close. Like it's not really a big deal to have practice or anything, but it's kind of a carryover from the beginning of Massing where it was just me and him, and like a big thing for us with the promotional material was like just personality driven stuff. So like doing something funny or, you know, just fucking around in some way.
So they're slowly getting like integrated.
Yeah, that's kind of a carryover, and they are absolutely more than welcome to be in any video they want. I don't know that they're super interested on being on camera as you know as much as me and Heath, but
it is a different aspect of it.
You know, it is weird. Sometimes he and I are like standing in front of that green screen, and I'm like, turn this shit off, dude. I can't I can't do this. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that bad. But I hopefully we involve them soon. We every now and then we go, oh, it'd be really funny if Pino said that, or like if Jeff was here. So hopefully we'll all be in the same spot long enough to make that happen soon.
Yeah, tackling things as they come along, basically.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll have an idea where I'm like, I would also like to include somebody in this one idea, but it would maybe just be faster if I just go ahead and do it in 10 minutes. Rather than like scheduling it out and stuff.
Right. So, it's like we've recently started doing TikToks where we pretend to play the song, which like if you tell me that on paper, I'm like, come on, I don't want to do that. But you just kind of have to do it, I guess. So we started doing that, and we're always like, damn, it would be so much better if we could cut, because it's fine to cut from me to Heath. But, like, if we could cut to another guitar player and, like, a drummer. But it's such a hard sell to be like, hey, can you come and bring your shit and, like, play for, like, 20 minutes, just do a bunch of takes, and then go.
Here's an idea.
Yeah.
I learned this one from making a Suite of Die Hard. Whenever you have extra rolls, just slap on a wig or put on some shades for that. For that
no, that is true. Or just put something on your head as if it is a hat or, like, a wig.
Yeah.
That was my favorite Vine thing. Was it?
I played at least like 10 characters in our remake of Die Hard. One being Alan Rickman's part, so it's very main and throughout the whole movie.
Yeah.
But then you like see me pop up in the background and stuff with like hats on, or one day I shaved completely down to just a mustache.
Yeah.
So like I tried to switch it up.
Nice.
And but some of them have like speaking roles and stuff too, so it was like kind of obvious. But that was the fun of it. And like you're talking about like the green screen and fake playing. Like once you do this silly thing and then you put it through the edit, that's when you see like, okay, yeah, the joke's landing.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, now that I can see it in the format of a joke instead of just like me saying it to no one, then it definitely.
Yeah, doing it in the void is very strange.
Yeah, absolutely.
Working in a band takes a lot of collaboration. Since we mentioned some of the other members already, do you have any tips on working with other musicians or just collaborating in general?
Yeah, I think the most important thing about collaborating for me is to have like a serious, legitimate trust in the person that I'm collaborating with, even if it's somebody that I've never worked with before or something like that. I just know that the end product is going to be 10 times better if I go into it taking them seriously, but also if I'm open to their suggestions. Because if I go in thinking that I can't learn anything from that person, then it's only as good as I can do, and then it's kind of, there's no need to even collaborate. Like I might as well have just asked them to email me a track of them singing or something. So yeah, just like, you chose to work with somebody, in this hypothetical, give them the same amount of trust that you would want for you. Because that's a really nice thing to receive on the other end when you can tell that somebody like values your input. Yeah. And that just, to me, it just makes me more excited to do it. And I would imagine same as for, whoever I would do that too. I don't know how to word that last part, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do unto others as you would want done unto you. I think that might be how it goes.
Yeah, honestly. I believe that's from the
with
Torah
me, right. For me, one of the things that shook me up when I was doing a lot of group effort stuff was scheduling. I think we kind of just hit on that a little bit. Scheduling can be a little hectic. With the way that we've done things on the Lemon Squid channel for drawing the fake Pokemon, I feel like that's been very smooth. I'm cool with all that scheduling.
Yeah,
that's been good to me.
I really haven't had any issue with that. Like, honestly, it is as simple sometimes as just being in a group chat and like, hey, what about this day? Sounds good. And everybody, at least everybody in our group chat shows up with their stuff done. So, it's cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah, being vocal about what you can and can't do, just being honest. No open-ended like hopeness. Like I've dealt with that before. There was someone around that would constantly like we would need input on like should we do this, or does this look good, or we need a group decision on something here. And I caught on, and basically it was just like a lot of that's great, sounds good. It was always going to be yes. Yeah. And it was always if I said one thing bad and the other person said one thing good, the other person's going to be like, well, I think both are great.
Right.
And that's kind of hurtful. Yeah,
because you're kind of taking your opportunity to like provide insight or something, and you're just maybe it feels nice to like not want to hurt anybody's feelings or something, and just be like, it's fine. But ultimately, it gives the same result as if you just don't care, where you basically are not being productive. So
that's what it kind of felt like, because I was like, had to assess it like later on. I'm like, do they not care? Do they want to be a part of it? Like, so
and it's hard to tell, especially when it's like maybe was it a remote thing? Yeah, especially then it's kind of like, okay, I don't know, I have no way to read this.
Yeah, it was it basically didn't work out for me in the end, but I learned a lot, and I think they might have learned a lot too. And they can go do their own process, and I can do mine. Yeah. But it did teach me a lot about working with other people and stuff like that. So negative positivity can be one thing. Scheduling can be a little hectic, but basically, opening up about your thoughts and giving your honest opinion rather than just being a blank slate is more beneficial to everybody in the project than
Yeah.
just coasting through it, you know.
Yeah, that was a big thing that I picked up from like art school because Heath and I would be in the same classes sometimes, and we would have to critique each other's work to our faces. Like, you know, at the end of a project, people will basically gather their stuff, and we'll all, for lack of a better way to describe it, we just point at it and go like, "This is good, this is bad." So, you kind of,
Yeah.
it's, you know, there's people. I don't know. It's easy to like. I think a lot of people take stuff personally, but for me, that was a really big exercise in learning, like, because you just have to do critiques the whole time you're in art school. Like, it doesn't stop. You just do it all the time. So pretty quickly, I was like, okay, I'm not taking any of this stuff personally. It doesn't matter. It's just an art critique. And that when you accept that, it makes you able to take better advice and actually apply it, but it makes you able to give better advice too. So
yeah, I think you like maybe something that might be stifling to some people is like actually learning the terminology of what your project is. That way you can express what you're thinking, because like the critiquing art at one point, like hell yes and that's cool can only get you so far eventually. So people want like I think I talked to some musicians who actually like patted me on the back. It was like, hey man, thanks for not just saying just hell yeah, but like actually telling us why you like the certain track. Pointing out certain instruments and stuff like that. So once you realize the terminology and like the lore of what you're working with, you can express what you're talking about better.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Because you might have these like great ideas on how to improve it, but without a language that somebody else shares, that is like, you know, you both understand, I guess. It's hard to, it's just hard to communicate that.
Yeah, speaking the same language creatively, that's a good topic right there.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever come up with song ideas that just go like, nah, like we're not doing that?
Oh yeah, yeah. There's like easily hundreds of songs, I think, on our Google Drive. That's like, here's a 30-second thing that I named something stupid. Like we have a song called "A Glass of Milk," and that is probably not ever going to be a song. But we have, it happens all the time, dude. Like 5 out of every probably 10 times that I sit down to make a song or something, I start working on something. I go, that's terrible, and I just start again.
Oh yeah, a lot of the someone asked me not too long ago. They said because before this year, I just shifted to YouTube and video format this past year. But before that, like I was doing like original paintings every day. I'd pop out like prints and stuff, just keep doing stuff as much as possible. And at one point somebody asked, they're like, do you post everything you do? And honestly, with that success rate that I had, you would think like probably, but like, no, there's sketchbooks and stuff full of just garbage. Like I kind of did a video on it. Butts and
dude going through it for the I was watching that earlier.
Yeah. So like, and the style that's in the sketchbooks isn't gonna be what you see that's in my final products. And I guess like that's just kind of who I am without people looking, I guess.
No, but, it's really interesting to show that stuff too, because this sounds like something an art professor would say, but it really, that is the most important part, is like you can't, it is actually literally impossible to get better if you don't do it. And so like if you sit down and expect every single thing that you try to draw to be like, okay, and this is going to be another 10 out of 10, another one of my like signature awesome pieces, maybe that works out for some people, but for most people, especially early on or whatever, you're just going to have to keep going. Like I don't know, you just have to accept that some stuff is going to be practice even when you don't expect it to be, and just make peace with that.
Yeah, you're sitting down to do a final product. You said this is going to be the video. Maybe I'm because I've thought about that recently. I'm like, what do I do when I sit down to finally do one of these videos and that doesn't come out the way I wanted it to? And I'm like, I don't want to show this to anybody.
No, I know.
I haven't faced that yet, but luckily I'm pretty okay with a lot of my junk art. So
It
But
made me think of
yeah, like
I have a shoebox of a bunch of comic books that I made when I was in middle school, and there's like one
nice.
like on the cover of one of them, it's like featuring like I liked The Simpsons a lot in middle school, and I was really into the fact that they would have celebrities like play themselves, so they would be like, this one has
Oh yeah,
Metallica in it, and so I on the cover of one of them, it's like featuring Avenged Sevenfold, and I drew them as stickmen in my fucking stupid ass comic book. It was awesome.
dude.
Uh,
There was an Avenged Sevenfold logo in that sketchbook. I loved Avenged Sevenfold when I was
nice.
growing up. I don't care what anybody
Dude, I did
says.
too. Yeah, I mean, some of those songs I put on now, and I'm like, that's a sweet guitar solo. You can't tell me it's not.
Yeah, I think Reminiscence was a dope track.
Hmm.
Man, there's a lot of good ones.
Hmm.
Yeah, I could talk about that all day.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of your roles in massing, I wanted to talk about your mixing process
Hmm.
and like how you like price it out to other people, like
Hmm.
as a service to other people. Let's start with what's your process for mixing these tracks?
My process is usually so. There's kind of like this is probably not universal. There's probably many different ways that you could like think of it, but the two ways that I tend to think of it are things that I recorded or things that someone else recorded that I'm mixing. So like, and there's also two other ways, I guess, to think of it. Not that there's only these two genres, but for what I do in my experience, mixing a like rock or a metal song is a kind of a different process than mixing a rap song, and that can be for all kinds of reasons. Number of stems, how they're recorded, things like guitars not being in the equation. So then it's like, what do you do with? But anyway, process is just I will get the files. Either I'll record it and then I'll just have it, or somebody will email it to me. I put it all into Logic. I use Logic. uh, and then I don't know. I don't really know how in depth to go with this description, but just a general kind of like explanation of
Yeah.
mixing, I guess, is like the first thing that I do is just get levels on everything. So before I put any plugins or like effects on anything, I'll just kind of try to balance loudness between everything and get something that I like. I usually don't mix very loud either. Probably unnecessary detail. But then I'll put effects on.
No,
So if
actually, these are all very relevant because this past year I would say like I said, getting into the video format, you'll see sometimes very early on where the audio is a miss, but it
okay,
gets better and then it's a lot more consistent as I go. But I'm
yeah,
learning about the spikes and stuff. So now all
yeah,
my like past like videos and this whole podcast, I've made sure none of it spikes. I
nice,
clean it all. So
dude. And
I'm into it.
yeah, and well,
Yeah.
and once you become aware of stuff like that too, you'll look back at old stuff, and that'll be the only thing you can hear. Like, I mix the mastering music, but I also mix and do like the sound design and the score for the live action like promotional videos and stuff that we do. So, uh, God, I forgot why I was even talking about that. I'm sorry.
You get from audio spikes and things that stick
Oh,
out.
yeah. Okay. So, especially for some of those early ones, we didn't really have good mics. So we would ADR. And if you don't know what I know you know, but if you don't know what ADR is, that's you record the audio afterward and then just match it up to the video. And that is kind of hard. But also now when I look like we have like live lav mics and stuff, so we don't have to worry about that. But anytime I look at like old promos and skits and stuff that we did, I'm like, I can just hear the terrible audio and like, oh, this thing I didn't put reverb on it, or I should have like done this or that or whatever. But yeah.
That's another part of it. Yeah, making that's been something that's fun when I work with the film projects or anything that's narrative based, is making sure like if I'm adding an artificial sound effect to the sound, I want it to also sound like it's in the room, that room or whatever.
Yes.
So I have to make
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And then
In,
if
in
you
that
have a or go ahead, go ahead.
in that endless creativity video, when I slide the notebooks in, that's not even like that's not real audio. That's
Yeah.
box cutter. It's like,
Nice.
and so it adds a much more grit to the
Yeah.
surface of it. But it
Nice.
like I still made it seem like it was in the room,
Yeah.
and
No, it's not.
that's so a lot of people don't notice.
and sometimes you'll be looking for a sound effect, like because I just pull sound effects off YouTube a lot of the time. I have like a couple libraries, but and you'll find one that is exactly like technically what you're looking for, but it doesn't sound right. Like it doesn't give you the right like vibe. So like exactly what you're saying. Sometimes you'll have to like layer stuff or even get a wrong sound effect to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, I started like layering different organic sounds to come up with a sound. I think the box cutter also has like rubbing paper or something mixed with it too. So like
Nice.
you kind of create sounds that way. I would love to do like Foley work, like just sit there with plants and locks and stuff and record those.
I've done a little bit, not of that, like not like super cool, where you're like in a room with like just a mic and you have all this like heads of lettuce
using
that you're
a lock.
smashing and stuff. Yeah.
Using a lock to sound like a gun.
Yeah. I haven't done it in that like legit of a sense, but I've like done Foley for videos and like I've done like little animatics for a cartoon I'm working on, and that's like every time somebody moves their arm, I'm like, you can't hear the fabric. You need a little like, and it's like, yeah, all kinds of little details you would never think of. But
I think it pays off in your guys' work because
dude, thank
like
you.
all the stuff I've been watching and everything, I'm like, how do they do that? And like, why was that so good? Well, that's why putting a lot of detail in there,
dude. That's really the thing with mixing, and I'm getting myself back on track because I yapped myself off of it. But the thing, yeah, I'll get like volume levels for mixing, but then I'll do effects or like basic. Like effects sounds like crazy stuff, and it kind of can be. So it can be a delay, like or it can just be reverb. It can be like a crazy like tremolo kind of wavy thing, but it can also just be like basic compression or getting things to like, I don't know, saturating something more, just so it kind of sits in the mix better, so it sounds like it's all glued together. But basically, the like pitch way I would describe mixing is that I will take the raw tracks and I'll make it sound like what's in your head. And like some of that is problem solving. So like sometimes people will send me vocals that are not optimally recorded, which is fine. You know, not everybody has like a perfect setup or whatever. So sometimes I'll go through varying degrees of things I'll have to do to kind of I don't know, fix sounds too negative of a word, but sometimes you have to kind of fix the stuff people send you. One time I didn't have to. Nobody made me do it, but I one time used Adobe Podcast to use artificial intelligence to restore some of this vocal because it was recorded so poorly, and it sounded way better when I got it out. So,
cool. I use that for tons of my videos at the moment because I don't have anything better to mix it on. What I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll do the volume spikes and stuff. I'll level things out, and then I'll go ahead and do noise reduction, make sure that's applied, and then I'll go ahead and run it through Adobe Podcast. That way it gives it a fuller mic sound. It comes out of both sides type deal, and
nice.
Definitely cleans it up a lot. Now that we've talked about like the process of mixing a good bit, you also mentioned that you offer this service to other musicians and creatives as well. Tell us about the process of like offering that to other people. Like, how do you price it, and do people come to you? Do you put out like promos, or not promos, but like advertise yourself and stuff?
That would definitely be smart if I did that. And I've even put stuff together in like a little 30-second, like it fades from one example to the next, like reel.
A reel.
But at this point, I made that like 2 or 3 years ago, and there's so much other stuff I'd want to put on it. I just never posted it. That would be a great idea for me to do that. Basically, it's just like if I know somebody, I'll just tell them that I'm interested in mixing their stuff. That's kind of like how it started, and eventually it got to the point where people would ask me. But it's mostly, I don't do a ton of mixing right now. I still consider myself doing it. Like I haven't backed away from it, but I've been working really closely with one local guy called Smith B. He's a rapper slash producer. He makes beats too. But
Nice.
I've been doing a lot of stuff with him lately, and we have a lot of similar interests, and we're just good friends anyway. But he just comes over and records, and we're almost done working on his album. His like debut solo album comes out next month. No need to plug. I don't know why I said that, but
No,
the
that's
thing about
good.
pricing, yeah, I don't know. The pricing, it just kind of like there's definitely different ways to do it. You could do hourly for sure. I tend to not do hourly because I kind of it's not that I'm necessarily slow, but I definitely think that I take a lot of extra time that I don't necessarily need to take. Because like I will replay, and this is I'm not the only guy who does this, person who does this, but I'll just replay a section like 100 times to make sure that it's like hitting perfectly.
And then a lot of times
yeah.
I'll do a lot of my editing with my headphones on, and then the only
Yeah.
way to really know what it's like is to take those headphones out and let it play naturally.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you got to like
It's-
do a lot of test listens.
Yeah, and you have to, and I'll mix it between my AirPods or something, or I'll play it like I'll connect my phone to the TV and play it through the TV. I don't have a sound bar or anything, but just to see how it would sound through like regular TV speakers.
Yeah.
I'll do that. These headphones are actually like scientifically fucking engineered to it's called Slate VSX, and it like simulates mixing rooms because I don't have
Ooh.
monitors, and I like rent apartments and stuff, so I can't really have like loud music or anything. So for a long time I just mixed just with headphones, but in the past like 2 years I think I got these, and they help a lot because a lot of times you don't know if your low end is like completely blown the fuck out or not until it's like too late, or like you hear it in your friend's car and you're like, oh, that's not how I thought that was gonna hit.
Yeah.
It kind of just sounds like a bunch of mud. So but this is like
Yeah.
it doesn't it's not like exactly like sitting in a car and hearing it, but it's pretty, you get like a really similar kind of thing. And they also model different
Nice.
like studios and mixing rooms and stuff like that. They have like a club model,
Nice.
I guess, that you can use. But yeah, it is important to check your audio on all kinds of different stuff. And oh, okay, yeah, but pricing is like I typically don't charge hourly because I think I spend too many hours that nobody asked me to spend, like prettying stuff up. And it's also like the thing where if I gave like a reasonable, like, okay, this is what a professional would charge doing this, like realistic, I guess you would call it, like quote to somebody, they would be like, well, I can't, there's no way I can pay you that. Not saying nobody can afford to pay me for what, it's not like that.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I don't know. They could just be like, well, I'll just do it, or I'll have my friend down the street do it for $25, and it's like,
Right.
well, okay. All that to say, I kind of just price it however I'm feeling in the moment. Like if I think this is going to be worth it, I'll kind of do some sort of hourly calculation in my head to get it close to like, or something that would
Yeah.
be fair. And that's typically about $100 an hour is like what I try to calculate for myself. I don't know
I do
if I said
full
that to somebody else
projects.
who, yeah.
Like as well, like a finished product price. Like I take into account the time, the hours that
Yeah.
it would take, and then what like necessities like I'll be using
Right.
for it. And then it's usually just how I'm feeling for the whole project. And
Yeah.
that can change between people, especially if you know you have like say you were mixing something for a college or something. They have they have marketing directors and stuff too, where they do like advertisements or
And
you know,
they have
videos, like,
budgets that are like allocated
Yeah.
for that
and they
stuff,
want you
yeah.
to mix a commercial. You're gonna be like, well, I'm gonna bump this up a couple thousand,
Right.
but
Yeah.
like on like with like word of mouth, like a lot of times, like I've done portrait paintings of people for like $40 before.
Yeah.
It's just like that's just
Yeah.
how I'm feeling,
And it's like,
and I have
and
the
if you
free
tell
time.
somebody, yeah, and it's also like I want to practice.
That too.
Because it is like I do want to make money from mixing, but it like right now I'm lucky enough that I have like a solid job or whatever. So I don't necessarily need to mix, but I just want to keep myself sharp and keep experimenting and keep doing stuff that I would never get to work with if it wasn't for me mixing
Mhm.
other people's stuff. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of like a. It's the kind of thing where if you told somebody else, like if you told somebody else who does paintings that you did it for $40, they'd be like, "What? Why did you? That's bullshit. Whatever. You shouldn't." But it's although it's like that is true, it is kind of bullshit. It's like, well, I
Like
also just
you
I don't
could
know.
you could tell them the opposite end too, and be
Yeah,
like, "I did this music video for $2,000," and they'll be like,
yeah,
it being someone they'll are like comparing themselves, they'll be like, "Well,
hmm,
that's not fucking worth $2,000." It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
you can't win by like
Right.
telling people what you price, but like the
Hmm,
best way to go about it is to like appreciate and respect other
hmm.
people's lives. Basically, it's all
Yeah,
different.
yeah, definitely.
Basically,
Well,
yeah.
like another thing too with pricing with what I do is like depending on what like how many tracks that you give me, obviously the more tracks the more difficult. So if I'm mixing like a full band where they're sending me drum stems, guitars, bass, multiple vocal tracks and stuff, I that is
Sure.
just like inherently
Yeah.
way more shit to like think about and make sure it's all fitting together than if somebody
Mhm.
sends you one track of a beat. And this isn't even my optimal thing for mixing rap, but like if a rapper sends you one track that's the beat and then one track for the vocals and one track for the doubles, I could charge you the exact same because it's still one song as this band, but it kind of doesn't. I would feel like a dickhead, kind of. So
I
I
didn't
don't
think
know.
about that. Yeah, stemming
Mm.
it out could
Yeah.
like if you stem it out to somebody, it may you can. I don't know. That's probably a shady thing to
Mm.
do if I'm saying it, but like
Well,
to do each to charge each one or whatever.
mm.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never done
Well,
it.
and it's also like sometimes with it, and it's not rap songs. The beats for those are also songs. Like they do have stems, but
Yeah.
just depending on how the person leased the beat or like if they made it or whatever, they might not have stems. They might only be allowed to use the one track. So even within genres, there's so much. So like, in metal music, it's really common for people to just send MIDI for the drums, and then you just do it with like fake drums in the computer, basically. I've gotten a lot of that. Sometimes you
So
can
are
do
you telling
live
me
drum tracks.
this whole time that I've been jealous of all this double bass? Most of it's probably digital.
It's
Are
all
you
fake,
kidding?
dude. Oh, dude,
I
it's for
stressed myself
sure.
out trying to learn that when I was younger. Like Avenged Sevenfold, MCR
Yeah,
was big,
man.
and I'd be tapping away at both feet, bro, and
Yeah,
still
man.
like years and years of drum practice couldn't lock it
Mhm.
in.
Yeah,
I could
dude.
do like I just couldn't ride it. I could only do it like
Yeah.
for so long. You can get like maybe 10 seconds out of me.
But having the constant like like that
Yeah,
is
yeah,
that's
just
crazy.
keep going.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, and that's the other thing too. Another thing with mixing is like a lot of times I'm editing as well. So like I'm taking this is the thing that like people you wouldn't necessarily talk about this in a front facing way because you don't want it to sound like you accept people who can't sing or something and then you'll just fix their vocals, but like that is a part of
Right.
mixing for sure. Sometimes even with rappers like uh I'll say this because it'll be totally uh I'm not saying it
Yeah.
to one person directly. It'll be totally anonymous. But rappers, I've mixed a lot of rappers. Slow down just a little bit, even if you're not rapping like a fast part or a fast song. I'll take the vocal into Melodyne, and it sounds like a little bit off. And Melodyne is a vocal editing software. But I'll take the vocal in there, and if you just highlight like a whole section and you make it a little bit longer so that it just like it's drawn out just a little bit, a lot of times it sounds so much more natural and so like it just hits like it's not hitting directly on the fucking point, so it sounds like it's a little more like alive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's just like one example of like stuff that you can do. But mixing is a lot of like there's a weird there's like a big pause, right? And everybody's supposed to be totally silent, but this guy like moved his hand like this, so there's like a guitar string noise. So it's just stuff like that. It's making sure that takes aren't getting cut off in the middle of shit. There's like a lot of like mixing, just saying mixing, it sounds like you're just like dragging sliders like up and down, which is like, definitely that's part of it. But most of the time is that I spend mixing is like editing.
Yeah, you learn a lot from the edit too. If they're not like doing their own editing, which obviously is a lot of hats to wear, they would learn
Yeah.
a lot more about themselves and how naturally those
Yeah.
like phrases come off. Because once you
Yeah.
listen to yourself back and you're editing a podcast or something, you realize,
Yeah.
oh, I say and like and oh like a million times.
Yeah. Well, it's like,
So
and you can give that advice to like people who are learning how to sing and stuff like that. And it's like only not a lot of people have asked me, but like when my girlfriend or something has asked me about learning how to sing, it's like you have to. The best, fastest way to do it, I think, is you have to get a way to record yourself, and you have to listen to it. You have to record yourself, and you have to listen to it, and you're gonna hate it, and it's gonna upset you, and you have to just take the red pill, and the red pill is that you suck right now, but you'll be better later. Because
yeah,
before I could record myself singing, like growing up, I was like, oh, I can sing. Like you sing under your breath, you hear yourself in your head, and you're like, yeah, I know how I say. I do this thing, and I sound like that. It's all cool.
yeah.
But then I got a fucking mic, and I sang something, and I listened to it back, and I was like, yo, that
Yeah.
cannot be what I sound like. And
If
that's
I
you
was
just have to
serious
like,
about myself back in the
Uh-huh.
day, I don't know if you watched episode 4 where I showed one of my rap songs from when I was about 15.
I didn't
And
see that one, but I heard that you said that you used to
yeah.
rap. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. And also my at that point, like I didn't have any hands on editing or anything for it myself. But when I heard it back, my voice would sound different. I'm like, I didn't
Yeah.
really expect that, but let's just keep doing it anyways because
Yeah.
we're just friends having fun.
Mm.
But at this point in editing for like about a year now, where I've done a lot of my stuff, it's to the point to where I actually hear my voice in real life the same way I hear it in editing.
Yeah,
Is
I'm
that
like that too.
I don't know if
Yeah.
people think about that, but like now it
Yeah.
is at the point where I hear it the same.
Yeah, it's like
pretty strange.
it is weird. Speaking, I can do it a little bit. I'm not like all the way there, like you said that you were. But I think we're trying to do more video stuff, so I'm sure I'll hear more of myself talking soon. But I'm that way with my singing voice. Like I can kind of hear it in my head the way that it actually would come out, and then I'll go sing it. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. But sometimes the song's in a weird key, and it sounds fucking weird. And it
Yeah.
still doesn't work
Yeah.
out. But
It's still definitely
yeah.
not like the same end product, but much
Yeah.
closer.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
maybe it's just the more you do it. So to any singers or anybody who wanted to learn the mixing process, go ahead and record yourself and start
Yeah.
working.
Record yourself. And the way that I started mixing, like I never sat down and was like, I want to be a mixer, and I am gonna work hard at becoming somebody who mixes. I just was like, I'm 17 and I have a job at Wendy's, and I just bought a laptop and I just bought a
Yeah.
mic and an interface, and I want to write songs. So I just record yourself, make as much stuff as you can, and if you have fun with it and you're like really into the process, you will just naturally want to make it as good as you can, and you'll just go out of your way to learn how to make it better.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a natural kind of
Along the journey, I find a lot of things that are just like a means to an end, but then it's like
Yeah.
after a while, you're like, it's no problem and you kind of enjoy it. So it's like,
thing. Yeah,
maybe you could do it for other people.
yeah, exactly.
Speaking of, you mentioned beats a bit, and we've talked about
Yeah.
mixing and stuff. Tell me about Mind Chow.
Mind Chow is the first beat tape that I have created. I have recently decided to start releasing beats under the name Laser of Hate. I mix
Nice.
a lot of rap music. I have always liked rap music. Like I've always been a hip hop fan. When I was a little kid in elementary school, it started with Linkin Park, which is like a hilarious way to be introduced to
And
hip hop.
Mike
dude from
Shinoda,
there-
dude. Yeah.
Mike Shinoda, and then from there they had the Jay-Z collab EP, and that
Amazing
like, blew
album.
my fucking mind, dude. I loved it. And they had that remix album Reanimation, and it was basically
Yep.
songs from the first album with like a bunch of crazy producers. I think maybe the fucking Alchemist has a beat on there. Or something. Like there's like
Wow.
crazy placements on that. But
Now that I know more, like
uh,
growing up, I love going back and finding that kind of stuff, and then
dude, it's
realize the Alchemist was involved on
yeah,
that.
yeah,
That'd be
it's
wild.
awesome. Yeah. But like, I don't know. I that was kind of my gateway into hip hop at a young age, and then I've kind of just like branched off into different things. But I have always loved the music, and I've always like I've always kind of wanted to make beats, and for a long time I would try, and they were not good. And in 2020, my friend Braden, he goes by Smoothie General. That's his like artist name. You can find his album Happily Pessimistic on, I think it's on streaming still. But he put that
Nice.
out in 2020, and he reached out to me to mix it. And that's actually the first like long form project that I ever mixed front to back. So that was cool for me. But I made a beat for him for the first song Family on that. He like the beat that he had belonged to somebody that he used to be friends with that he just didn't he like I don't know. He couldn't use the beat or he didn't want to.
Happens
So
a
he
lot.
yeah. And he basically randomly asked me if I wanted to make one cuz I wasn't like a guy that made beats. He was just like, "Hey, I know you make music. Do you want to try to make like a different instrumental for this?" And I was like, "Sure." And it was the first time that I tried to make a beat where I made one. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's what I wanted. Yeah, cool."
Yeah.
So I got excited about that, and I have started like in the past like 4-ish years. I've worked a little bit more on my production, like hip hop production, I guess, like that.
Okay.
You could also call it pop production, I guess. But a lot of it has like I got to implement a lot of that into massing too. Like I wouldn't call them good, I wouldn't use them as like good examples of my beat making or anything, but the first two massing EPs, Happy So Bad and Wahoo, are pretty based in like drum machines and stuff like that, and kind of like beat based, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of rambling, but I really just wanted a way because I have a song that I on Smith B's upcoming album. There's a song that I made the beat for, and I have stuff in the works, more stuff in the works with him, and also Smoothie General where I make beats. So I was like, okay, I just need to release something because I have like 100 half beats on my computer. So I was like, I just need to
Nice.
release something under a name to like establish it, so that one, people know that I make beats and they can ask me to make them if they want,
Yeah.
or like I can just have a place to point to, like, okay, this is another like outlet, instead of having to
Yeah.
just like look through my Google Drive and be like, did I upload that idea? How can I listen to that? So that I kind of threw it together haphazardly, the Mind Chow EP, or beat tape or whatever you want to call it. But I try to get stuff that's also, feel free to cut this part down because I didn't really know what to say and I've been rambling a lot.
You're good, bud.
But I kind of try to pick songs that or beats that feel like they're definitely all hip hop, I think, but they're different genres in between each other, and I think they all sound different. And I kind of wanted to. I didn't want to put out a single because I didn't want it to be like, here's the sound I'm going for. I just wanted one thing where everything sounds different, so that
Good
I've
point.
kind of yeah. So now the door is
Yeah.
wide open, and I can just like, if I do want to do a single, but it sounds really specific, it's fine because there's already
Yeah. It's
like I've already
established.
established.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I started working on FL Studio back in like, I want to say like 2008 to like, I would say 2014 maybe. So I had a good couple years, and that's all I did was beat making. FL Studio.
It's
I
great
wasn't
for that,
good.
dude. The interface is really intuitive in FL.
I incorporated like a lot of my rock roots a bit, like tried to find those distortions and stuff in those packs and change them and stuff. But I did end up putting out like I ended up having a whole folder full of beats that I could probably reference as like emo hip hop, because it's like one of them, it has like a guitar solo in it that it's all digital, but
Yeah.
like it closes out the song. It kind of sounds like an older like Kid Cudi song maybe. But I
nice.
used to put them on SoundCloud, and now there's actually still one up there, and I used to upload them as Simple Interesting Visions, which is technically like if I did it now, I would put it under Creative Jargon.
Creative Jargon, yeah.
Because that's what Creative Jargon used to be, was SIV. And I was just
yeah.
like, I don't know what to do with these tracks except offer them as like, this is our creative entertainment. Now we have beats that you can listen to. So there's one song on SoundCloud by Simple Interesting Visions, if anybody wants to check that out.
Yeah, nice. I'll check that out. That sounds cool.
I'm no stranger
that's another
to
thing too.
beats, man.
Go ahead. Yeah. That's another thing with the beats is like I would love to even get to a place where I like people approach me for making like background music for YouTube videos or something like that.
Yeah.
Or like anything that you would want music for.
Stock music.
I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I don't know, I like little assignments like that. Like whenever I have tasks.
I think you can get into that because I started noticing that like if you're in the YouTube library and you're looking at tracks, like there's obviously a huge variety, but you'll start seeing certain names come back around a lot.
Kevin McLeod.
Yeah. That was actually the guy that we had score Sweeted Die Hard actually used one of his names or one of his tracks. I saw the name. I was like, I actually recognize that.
Yeah. A prolific, prolific guy.
Might start seeing Laser of Hate in there.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to. Skits, videos, movies, whatever.
I just started. I learned about because I was learning about creative income, and I shouldn't have started, but I shouldn't have like put the stuff out there so prematurely. But what I did is I found out about stock footage, and I started filming a lot of stock footage like while I was like doing my documentary. So I opened up a Wire stock web or account, and there's like 3 clips on there that I've never sold because they're horrible. If you have I didn't realize cameras really at that point, but I did clean up the HD footage a bit. Nice. And I gave him sound design. Like one of them's outside. I was like, the audio's horrible. Cool. I'm just gonna build nature in there.
Yeah.
Nice. So I think there could be somewhere where you could sell stock music. Something like that.
I'm sure that there's already like platforms for that I just don't know about yet. But
yeah. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that myself. Well, now we've covered. Where is Mind Chow and how can people listen to it?
Okay, Mind Chow is on. It's on Bandcamp at laserofhate.bandcamp.com. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But it's also probably more importantly on like Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer. I always say that one because it's like nobody knows what the hell that is. It's probably on iHeartRadio and stuff. It has there's a bunch of little icons for all the different streaming services that it's on. But I only really use Spotify. So
you guys have a link tree or anything? I think on your Instagram, maybe.
Yeah, I think we do. Yeah. And if I can always make one if you need me to.
There you go.
or anything.
If you need me to, it's helpful. I've set mine up, and then a lot of times I'll put it in my Instagram bio, and I'll go months without realizing I haven't changed it, and it's like, oh, my link tree's advertising a short film that like is just taking up space on the link tree. Now I've got to just reduce to just the social platforms I use, and like I don't mess with it anymore. Say if people want to check it out.
Yeah, I don't even know if ours is up to date right now, but I know we have one.
It's one of those things, fucking keeping up with your descriptions and stuff. YouTube actually just sent us an email about how like video descriptions got jacked up for like a couple days there in May. So it's always something.
Yeah, last time we uploaded stuff to the Massing Spotify, I was like looking at our old bio and I was like, oh, I need to write a new like this is old, this doesn't make sense, I need to change it.
Yeah, you outgrow a lot of that kind of stuff. Speaking of some things we might not outgrow, because this is definitely going to spur some older things out of me. And I'm stealing this question from Talking Tunes with Sean and Jeff, so if you're watching, go ahead and leave a comment. Rob, what is your favorite cover song? Or maybe just some honorable mentions.
Okay. I think my favorite cover song is this is like a kind of weirdly specific one, but I don't know if you would be aware of this song. But Metallica did a cover of "Whiskey in the Jar," which, as far
Yep.
as I know, is just like a kind of like a folk song or something. But the version that they
Whiskey
covered
in
is
a jar.
Thin Lizzy's. Yeah, yeah, dude, that's the one.
Yeah.
That I heard that song when I was like 11 or something, probably, and I had never heard the Thin Lizzy version that they covered, so like I didn't know it was a cover even. And
Same.
I was kind of mystified by the chorus where he says, I believe he says "Mashada rain dabadura blada" or something
Yeah.
like that.
Uh,
Yeah, 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 exactly. But I mean, it's just such a fun, like, I don't know. There's something about that song. The vibe of it is just like it takes me back to a specific time in my life where I was like, I don't know. I was just really excited about music. That song felt like a happy kind of summer song, and whenever I put it on now, it just puts me in a good mood.
That's good. Yeah. I have some roots with that one as well. I learned that one on
Nice.
guitar because my dad, he really, like, we used to,
Mhm.
when I got like one of my first apartments and he lived with me, we would take some nights where we just crack open some cold ones and I'd pull out the guitar and then we'd
Yeah.
also put YouTube on the TV with
Nice.
just music videos and stuff.
Yeah,
Basically, like,
that's awesome, dude.
those nights spurred like a bunch of the songs that I ended up learning and writing. I ended up writing a lot of songs during those times.
That's
But
awesome,
Whiskey in a
dude.
Jar, I actually didn't remember that was a cover. I love Thin Lizzy.
Yeah.
Though. Love Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, Thin Lizzy rules. Yeah,
Have you heard the Teal album by Weezer?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's the one with all the cover songs.
yeah.
Which
Did they do?
is kind of it's kind of
Oh, go
odd
ahead.
that they would name that one the Teal album when it's
Uh-huh.
such a it's a cover album and
Yeah,
it aligns with all their other color albums.
yeah.
But
It's almost like this one's non-canon. Why did you waste a color on it? But I guess that's why they
yeah,
chose teal, is because it's like it's kind of blue. I don't know.
yeah, it's
I did
not
think
it's
that was
not
kind
as
of weird.
primary.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a decent album in regards to like some of those covers fucking slapped. Like
Dude, yeah,
they did No Scrubs. That was
that was a
awesome.
good one.
I love
Yeah.
No Scrubs.
There's a couple of
And then
those
they
that are like, this is kind of just the song karaoke with like Rivers singing it,
Yeah.
which was
They
that's
did a
cool in
cover
its
of
own way, but
ELO's Mr. Brightside. That sounded almost exactly the same, just with Rivers. But it was pretty neat. It
I
kind
like
of
the
took me
idea.
back.
Yeah.
Do you remember Punk Goes Pop?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Dude.
yeah, there we go. Punk
Yeah,
Goes Crunk.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, you probably love Punk Goes Crunk.
Dude, yeah, Punk Goes Crunk. The Devil Wears Prada Still Fly cover.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, man, that was a good. I know. Say Anything.
Someone did
was on
Umbrella.
there.
I think
Oh, I used to listen
All
to that
Time
one a
Low
lot.
maybe did Umbrella.
It was.
I might,
Yeah.
yeah. God,
They've been,
what terrible times.
Yeah, I don't know. I find myself thinking about them sometimes. I actually
yeah.
re-listened to the cover of Bulletproof. I don't know if you remember that pop song. It
Is
was
it,
like popular on the radio for a minute.
Is it "This Time, Baby, I'll Be Bulletproof"? Is that the lyric? Yeah.
Yep.
Who did the cover? I don't know if I heard that one.
Is there a band called MK5 or something like that? It's
Maybe.
they have a simple name like M something 5, and I don't want to get that wrong, but I think they're the ones that do cover Bulletproof.
Okay.
Someone turned me
Oh,
on to
Family
that band
Force
once.
5.
Family Force 5.
Yeah.
MK5. When
MK
someone
Ultra
told me
5.
that name, when someone told me that name when I was growing up, I was like, Family Force 5, like, is some
Yeah.
sort of boy band or something.
Yeah, what
I'm
is
not
this? Do
really
they-
into it.
I always imagine that it's like a family where they join forces into like that Dexter's Lab episode where they do the Voltron and it's his family.
Yeah.
That's what I've
I s-
always imagined for some reason when I hear Family Force 5.
Yeah. That was one of my favorites, though. I like that. There's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of variety, even with Punk Goes Pop and Punk Goes Crunk. You get a
Yeah.
bunch of punk bands together, and they all still sound completely different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some of them were digital punk. Some of them were alternative punk, you know.
So yeah,
So many
vocal
different
glitches and
avenues.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good little stroll down memory lane right there. one of the more recent ones I like is a cover of Billie Eilish's "Bad Guy"
Mm.
by the Interrupters, and that cover slaps, dude. That's
I
a
don't
real
think I've
good
heard
one.
it. I gotta check it out.
It's a bit like ska, so it's got horns in it,
Okay, nice.
and it's just an upbeat Billie Eilish ska
Yeah,
cover, you know.
dude. People talk shit about ska, or they mention it as if it's like only cringe. But ska is also fun. I like ska. It's cool.
Me First and the Gimme Gimmes are amazing.
Yeah,
It's one of my favorites. They actually,
really.
speaking of covers, they do tons of covers, and it's Fat Mike from NoFX, I think,
Oh
the
shit.
guitarist
Okay.
from Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
It's a super group. Yeah,
Nice.
it's sweet.
I gotta
Speaking
check
of
that out.
super
I don't
groups,
know a ton about ska, but so yeah, good.
you're
I
good.
fucked
Yeah.
up the segue.
Speaking of super groups, uh, massing. How do you guys come up with the promotional material? Because you guys, one of the first things I noticed in entry wise, I was like, okay, I need to start checking these guys out. I go to the Instagram. There's a verified interviews. There's piss jars. There's
Yeah.
diarrhea jars, and they're all a big use, and a lot of them are green screen. But it's like it's not
Absolutely.
overdone. The verified one I didn't even realize was green screen for a second. It took me a real. I was like, oh yeah,
Mm,
that's how it's so
nice.
clean and looking.
That's
How do you guys
awesome.
come
That's
up with these
perfect.
ideas?
Honestly, a lot of it I have to give it up to Heath. He's basically a marketing genius. Like he has great ideas all the time. Really, he has no shortage of ideas. I feel like I'm kind of best when I can play off of his ideas, but sometimes I do come in with my own stuff. Um, I wrote a little note right here to tell me what to say. Sometimes, okay, yeah, a lot of times it's Heath. Sometimes we just hit record and start saying shit. Yeah, that's also true. Sometimes we will be standing there in front of the green screen and we'll be like trying to do an idea that we had and it's just not working. So we'll just pick up the phone off of the like phone holder and just start talking to it. So sometimes it's as like impromptu as that. Sometimes it's us gathering ideas
Yeah.
and then bringing them to the table. For that, I don't know if you saw you mentioned the piss jar, and we did have. I'll do just a super quick like recap of that. We were trying to sell tickets to a show, so we did a green screen video, and we thought it'd be funny if I was in a jar. In the jar, it's gonna fill up with piss. I'm gonna drown if you don't buy the tickets. So we did that.
I want to say
And then
the voiceover
yeah.
for a lot of those really sold it because it was like, it was pretty like, okay, guys, we are back at the jar, back at Jar Watch.
Yeah.
Rob's
As if
still in the jar.
that's another thing that I love to do with massing and Heath. We don't talk about it. We just kind of both get it. Where it's like, it's really funny to start off a video as if we always do shit like this, but it's like clearly the first time. Like, hey guys, here's a bit of I don't know. We just think it's funny to do stupid shit like that. But we did a couple of those, and eventually it became this thing. And the thing was, we just kept getting diminishing returns on it, which makes sense, and that's totally fine. But we thought it would be like each post got like less and less interactions, and it was kind of like it's kind of a gross idea in the first place anyway. So it kind of makes
It's probably
sense.
the
Like
only thing that held it back.
yeah,
Yeah.
we were lucky to get the interaction that we did at first. So we thought it would be really funny to make a full mockumentary about the fact that we thought it was a really good idea, and then it blew up in our faces, and now here's our downfall.
Is that what Tim or Iyer
Yeah,
was
yeah.
involved in?
Ear. Tim Ear, yeah.
I had that originally in the show notes, but I wasn't sure whether it was important to bring up because I'm like, well, I'm not even like totally sure exactly what he does in the band yet. He may not even
Right.
like have had anything to do with that or something. I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
now
yeah.
I know way more now.
Right.
So that little documentary type deal, it seemed like you guys also carved out a hoodie segment of it where you guys were like got some of the same shots and the same people to talk about the hoodie you were
Yeah,
putting
yeah.
out.
Yeah, we honestly we just filmed because everybody that we had do like a little testimonial. We had a script, but we also just let them like we got a couple takes of what we wanted and then we just let them go. So a lot of that shit is just like in the follow-up video is just stuff that we cut out of the first one. And we just like
Oh.
we basically, there was a section in the script of the mockumentary originally where people were going to be reacting, like at the end we bring out the hoodie and they're like, oh, that's the hoodie, yeah, that's great, but it just didn't fit, so we decided to kind of do it as a separate thing.
That's awesome though, that it was able to be separate and still like hold all its values.
Yeah, and that just takes like, because you could go like, oh shit, we shot all this extra stuff and blah blah, but if you just like kind of reframe it and change the premise a little bit.
Think about it a bit.
Yeah, because none of that stuff is necessarily written in text on the video. You know what I mean? Like, people aren't going to see it and go, oh, it was supposed to be for this. They'll just think it's for whatever you're showing it to them for.
Yeah.
But that was like kind of unique, the way we made that, because usually if it's something that needs a script, either Heath will just write it or I'll just write it. But for that one, Heath wrote the first draft, and then like a little bit later, he and I just went into a room and worked on the draft and just rewrote everything until like everything made us both laugh. And
nice.
that was a really fun experience. I love like writing in a room next to somebody else. It's like when you make somebody laugh like that, it's like one of the best feelings ever. But yeah, hopefully we'll do more stuff like that, because we want to do more video content, to use that awful word. But like, it would be cool to do skits and stuff that's just funny, and it's not necessarily promoting anything.
I'm getting used to, especially calling content, because that's what that kind of involves. Like when you say that, I hear it and I'm like, okay, there's the art part, but they're also spending hours on the writing. They're also spending hours on the production part and the post-production. So content to me, I get it if you're doing it in the right sense, rather than just like posting whatever, you know. A lot of people just post whatever. Yeah, day-to-day pics and stuff like that. But you guys put a lot of thought into what you've done, or at least it seems that way, and it comes off very cohesive.
Dude, thank you. And I also like to think that we've kind of made ourselves a little niched, where we can have stuff like that that's like over the top. Because also another part of the whole reason that we made the mockumentary is just because it's fucking funny. That for something like, we made a mockumentary for something so stupid that it was not a thing.
Love meta within meta, because it's a meta on the promos that you did, and a point about those promos being like a little gross factor. Being like the niche that like massing has, I think true supporters like actually get it and they love it. Like, you know, this is fucking hilarious. But yeah, maybe it didn't bring in new people, but like I think I think you served your crowd well.
Yeah, and it's like, and we're fortunate to be able to, like, we've kind of trained, I guess, our audience to be receptive to high effort stuff like that, but also low effort stuff. So like, sometimes we can just grab the phone and go like, hey, our new song's out. But you know, like, and even though that took 2 seconds, sometimes that will get a great reaction. And you can't resent the people for liking this and not liking that. You just have to accept, like, this is going to hit or it's not. Not that it's totally random. Like, you can do things to make it, to, you know, be a little more sure. But
I did.
Yeah, you just kind of have
low
to
effort content just recently. You might have seen the you talking about bringing in skits and more narrative stuff, or just playing around with ways to promote what you do. And like, I'm at the core just an artist, like a painter and stuff, basically. But you might have noticed I put in like little skits and stuff here and there in my reels.
Yeah.
One of the recent ones was calling all Instagrammers eat my butt, and I did that whole parody of, and that was one of the easiest things to film, you know, just me doing a bunch of turnaround shots like in the corner, and 2 seconds, like literally 10 seconds of audio, 2 seconds of filming, and then I had to set up like lights and stuff, but like you don't have to do all that, but like and you don't know what kind of effort is going to go farther. Like that reel, I think it's at like 2,000 views compared to like a bunch of the like normal views for like one of like the ones I made before I knew what I was doing for making content. It's like maybe 50 views and stuff. I do this
Yeah.
simple one that's just a parody, and it
Yeah.
goes high, low
Yeah,
effort.
and it's like everybody. I say that shit. I hear musician friends. Hear artist friends. Everybody says it where they go. I spent 100 hours on this thing and nobody liked it, and I spent 2 seconds on this thing and everybody liked it, and they get pissed. And you are kind of right to get mad, but you also just have to accept it. It's just one of those things. It's just one of the like
Basket.
laws of the world.
Yeah. Um, Speaking of your guys' video productions, I'm not exactly sure all that you had in the hand of this, but
Mhm.
I would like to know more about the short film Sleep Extender. I seen that you guys
Yeah.
had directed that and it had all your names on
Mhm.
there, so you
Mhm.
can tell me about the film and the process you guys had in it.
Yeah. So Heath has he has a hand in HMAF stuff, which is Huntington Music and Arts Festival, and like they'll they have an annual thing, and they have like a whole week of activities. So like
Mhm.
there's all kinds of different things, but one of the things they do is a 72-hour film sprint. I think that's the official title. But at like uh they give you two words that I guess they're drawn at random or something, but based on those two words you use that as your prompt and make like your whole film off of
Wow.
that. So they
I
gave
thought
us
that
the
was just a
words.
super cool name.
Yeah, well they
I
gave us
thought it
the
was
words.
sweet.
They gave us the words bed and extend, and
Oh, that's
we got the words at like noon on a Thursday, and I was at work. And so we were like, when I was on my lunch, we were like, because I don't text during working hours. When I was on my lunch, we were talking about what words, ideas that we could come up with, little premises. And Heath is really fast with writing and also like with music and doing takes or whatever. He came up with like I might have this number wrong, but he came up with like 5 or 6 ideas really fast, like different premises, basically for our group chat to choose from. And we kind of got like a crew together beforehand. So we had Gavin Grizzle to shoot it. Tyler Kaplinger
yeah.
and Jim Polak were starring in it. Even before we knew what it was, we knew that we wanted them to act in it because they're just solid. And, you know, we're friends with them and stuff. But anyway, we were in a group chat and we chose one of the ideas, and it was that it was based on bed and extend, and it was like Heath's pitch was something as simple as like a guy takes two sleeping pills instead of one and wakes up 300 years in the future, or something like that. So
Nice.
like if you see our movie, it's not exactly that description to a T, but like that's basically where it came from.
Uh, I just thought of something.
Mm,
I'm a huge Evil Dead fan,
mm,
and the lost ending of Army of Darkness, he's given a potion to sleep until his time. But being Ash, being the anti-hero, like also
yeah,
dumbass that he is,
yeah.
he's like, how? I think he's like, how many swigs did he say to take? One, two, or three? And so he just, and then he just like, he's like, I'll just do three, and then wakes up
Yeah.
way past his time in the like
Uh,
post-apocalypse. And so, like, that
nice.
kind of reminded me of
Yeah.
that. That was
No.
just a burner ending that they had for that film.
Mhm. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean it's a fairly similar thing to that, and it that kind of happens toward the end of ours as well. But it was like we picked a premise, and then the next day, I guess was Friday, and we met up after I got off work. The four of us got into a room, and we had Heath's like elevator pitch, and
Uh-huh.
we didn't like all write a script, but I took notes and maybe Heath took notes, and we all talked about. We were like, okay, we're here together for like 2 hours. Let's figure out what it is, and then we'll start planning shots. Uh, so we all basically just decided generally what was going to happen in the story, like specific jokes and dialogue and stuff. We didn't really come up with, but like, oh, and then this will happen, and that'll make that blah blah. So we all came up with the story together, and then I went home, and I guess that night I wrote it into like a screenplay, and then sent that to everybody. So then maybe it was I don't know. I'm getting my days mixed up because the first day that it doesn't really matter, but the first day we shot, I wasn't even there because I was at work, and they
Right.
just like shot in the morning, and then I got off work, and then we shot more, and then the next day we shot, and basically, yeah, we just got together with that group of people. We shot the script, and then once we were done shooting, which was like, okay, I do remember this. We had to turn it in by noon on Sunday. So it must have been Saturday, like 1 p.m. or something. We wrapped on all of our shots. And me and Heath were like, okay. Or, well, Heath came over to my apartment actually because we needed to record. We knew we wanted a jingle for Sleep Extender, but we didn't know what it was
Nice.
going to be. So I just
Right,
pulled up
because
my
yeah, you're
keyboard and
adding production
yeah,
within the
yeah.
world.
Yeah, exactly. Like we knew we wanted there to be a jingle at the end of the commercial or something. So before we had all our stuff in camera, and Heath came over and we recorded the jingle. We just wrote it in like 5 seconds and recorded it, and then we were like, okay, salute. He went to his house. I stayed here. I edited the audio, and there was a couple things we had to do ADR for, but for most of it, we that was where I found Adobe Podcast because one of the scenes was fucked up audio wise, and I was like,
Yeah.
"No, our movie, we can't shoot it again." No, so that saved my ass there. But like, I basically did the mix and the sound design and the score, and Heath did the edit. So he sent me like as soon as he got home, he made like he locked the timing basically. And then he was like, okay, I need to do effects for this, this, and this. And I was like, okay, I need to do Foley for this, that, and that. Uh, and he worked on the edit. I worked on the score. And then it was like like I probably started working on it like 1 p.m. Saturday. And I'm pretty sure we submitted it at like 10 a.m. Sunday. So he and I both just agreed that we weren't going to get up from our chairs until it was done. And we did it.
That's
And it was
amazing.
I thanks. I'm really happy with how it turned out, and I've never been involved with a movie like that. Like I've never written a screenplay for a movie. I've never, and I know it's like 5 minutes long, so it's not really a movie. But
No, it is.
yeah, I don't
It
know.
totally is, man.
That was a really interesting world for me to throw myself into, and I was like part of the reason why obviously it even got finished was because we had the 72-hour time limit. Because if we just came up with this, we probably would still be kicking it around like, oh yeah, one day we'll shoot that. But it
Playing
was just a
around,
really
yeah.
fun thing. Like Heath and I basically agreed without saying it, like, okay, we're gonna take this really seriously and like try to really nail it. And I would love to do it again this year. I don't know if
Man,
we've talked to everybody
a lot
about
of
doing it, but
no, that'd be awesome to see. I would love to see Sleep Extender. Is there a way to see that?
yeah, it's on the HMAF YouTube channel, and I can send you a link.
Yeah, send me the link and I'll
Yeah,
is it okay if I put it in ARTBOX too?
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
The group, because the group is a bit of a community that we have. It's got about like 200 people at the moment, but like
Oh, that's
I
awesome.
don't know, big art tubers like Chuck Lee, who I've been talking to, he's in the group. So people are like looking at
Nice.
this stuff, and they can also
Yeah,
add
man.
their own stuff for people to either promote their stuff, not like you don't continuously post the link, but like put that
Yeah,
up
yeah. Don't
there.
be
People
annoying.
got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
No,
like
that sounds
most of the
awesome.
rest of it is for like resourcing tips and like stuff that we can talk about on this show. So it'd be
Yeah.
great to show people that. And I actually have to watch it myself because I was reading about it and I was really interested. I was like, if only I could watch it. And
It's kind of unclear like where, because at the time it was like you go to the festival. Oh yeah, that was the other thing I forgot. We sat like in a theater and watched it, and obviously seeing everybody else's stuff was cool because I just had no clue who even had joined in until I was sitting there and I would see like my friend's name on the pop up like directed by blah blah.
oh,
I'm like,
nice.
oh shit. So that was really exciting, but it was also really really fun to see a movie that we like wrote and made and see like the jokes landing and like the timing,
Man,
like people get what we're going for. That's a really
I
fun
was actually
experience.
I was actually able to capture like if there was someone filming you guys going through that moment, I was actually able to do that with myself. Luckily, we showed our first movie in the theater here in town, Tons of people showed up. We had a red carpet, and like, luckily, I got used to setting my my phone and tripod down to where you could see the crowd and the movie,
Yeah.
and like you can just see us as soon as the movie starts, and it's like got some emotional music in my documentary for it, and it's just like there's nothing like it because we did it for fun and like just the hell of it, and like there it is, and then all these people, we told all these people, and they came out to see it, and it's there's just nothing like seeing your first film on the screen. In fact, like I did the Magic Pen, which is now on YouTube. That I actually wrote in about 10 minutes. I wrote it in 10 minutes and then filmed it in like 2 days, and then the animations for it took like 2 days, and then I would say a full edit with everybody, like the production company that helped me make it. They probably spent like, I was also a part of the core editing. I did the timeline lock and stuff. Nice. It probably took us like 2 weeks to do with all the schedules and stuff. We had to capture some ADR, come up with some good stuff from audio libraries, and put in like some non-copyright TV shows that we needed. Bunch of little stuff that went in there, but like a lot of people couldn't do things within 2 weeks. Let alone 72 hours. That's insane.
That was another cool thing. Was it was kind of like not that every time we will do a video thing it'll be such a short amount of time, but just knowing that we set out to do it and then it worked out, it was like, oh, okay. Imagine if we like had a really good plan like this, but then we had unlimited time. Like we could probably make something pretty cool. And like that one thing about the availability of Sleep Extender, I think it's on the HMAF's YouTube channel now, that's a totally good place to go watch it. I think it's the only place that you can. But we have talked about putting it on the Massing YouTube channel because it's not like, it's not really in the universe. Yeah, it's not
you guys
necessarily.
Own it, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I would say directed by Massing.
yeah, because it's not necessarily supposed to be a Massing story, but something that we want to do anyway is get into like just comedy videos and like skits and just random.
You guys
like
would kill it.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I just think it'd be cool if like one day there's an equal chance of like a song popping up from us on your subscription, or like a funny video, or so I think we'll probably put it on our YouTube soon, and I don't know, and put some other stuff there.
I'll keep tabs on that, brother. No pressure. Definitely give me that link though.
Absolutely.
Oh man, there's so much to even talk about, really. Because we've talked about music and creating together and mixing and so many things. I've kind of gotten some of the answers for this next question through us talking. I was curious about your relationship with art, and now I know you've. Did you complete art school?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. So you even finished art school? I had no idea, man.
It took me a really long time. It took me longer than it was supposed to, but I did get a degree.
I went in for about 2 years for English education with an art minor because I was like, I think English will get me a job teaching, and if they ever lose their art teacher, I'll be like, I also do art.
Yeah, because if you have a degree, you can just be like, I'll teach, art or whatever, or even like substitute.
I felt like art would be easy. They'd be like, well, he's got an English degree. He is a teacher, and we've seen some of his scribbles. Let him in there.
Yeah, go ahead. That's funny. I have an English minor and a graphic design major, so we're switched a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, I'm finding a lot of similarities when I started talking to Austin, you, and Heath. Like, Austin says, he's like, I can't believe we didn't grow up together. Pretty much. That's what's like.
Yeah, whenever I talk to you or Austin, like I've talked to Austin a little bit more. He's come up to me at shows and stuff, but it's like he came up to me at the last show we played at the Loud, and it was maybe the first time I talked to in person. If that's not true, I'm sorry for forgetting. But he just walked up.
Let him know in the comments, Austin.
yeah. Let him know how forgetful I am. But no, I mean, he just walked up and we were just buddies. It was just cool. He's like such a friendly guy, and you have. I think we all kind of are the same way like that.
Yeah, totally open-minded, not defensive or anything. Like we're all, I feel like we're all pretty smart about bad people.
Yeah.
It kind of seems like, I don't know.
No, I know what you mean.
But
yeah,
but that's how I felt with Austin. We talked on the line first, and then I just walked up to him at the skate park because he said he was there, and then I asked him to be on the show, and he asked me to be on his show, and we've talked most days since I've met him.
there you go. Nice.
And he's someone who showed me like your artwork and stuff. That's how I first started seeing some of it, and I realized like you guys actually know a lot of what you're doing with collaborating together and then like streaming it. So like I think I might have to definitely bring you back for another episode where we can dive into more art stuff too, because I think we covered a lot of good music stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to.
All right, man. Well, that about covers up today's episode. Please let the folks know where to find you and any of your upcoming shows or projects.
Okay. Let's see. You can find me at Laser of Hate on Instagram, and I think it's the same thing on Twitter or X. I guess that's all I have. And then we use, you can keep up with Massing WV on Instagram, Massing 304 on Twitter. Right now,
I know
Facebook.
you guys. Yeah, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. What were the other bands that you were part of that you said you were like currently doing?
I do Down in Round 3. That was like, we have not been super active lately. We put out an album in 2021, or maybe it was the end of 2020. But for like a little while,
check that out then.
Yeah, it's like a pop punk kind of music, and we're not super active, but we just started playing shows again after not playing for like 2 years. So hopefully we'll get that kind of going a little bit more soon. I'd love to do some new music. Down around 3, Massing, Laser of Hate. That's it, I think. Hopefully there will be more projects before the end of the year that you can find, like bands and stuff. I don't want to spoil anything, but there are definitely plans for more projects. So, more music that is not Massing.
Nice. And you guys have that's all in my reference point at the moment.
So. There will. I don't mean to say more music that's not Massing as if we're not working on Massing stuff, because we still are. But I do
very functional.
Yeah, absolutely. But we're working on multiple things at a time. So yeah.
And you guys have the Oversaturated tour right now? Don't you have like 2 more shows?
Yeah. Yeah, we have one at the time of this recording. The show is in 2 days. It's on Thursday. I think it's on Thursday the 20th.
We'll probably miss that one for the episode, but
yeah.
the 20th you have
tonight,
one.
And then I can bring up this trusty Instagram. Yeah, okay. June 20th, August 30th, 9th Street Live in Huntington. And that's all we got on the books for right now.
Right on. If you're in Huntington, go check it out.
And we just put out our EP, Rejuiced. I almost don't want to say it because I'm going to jinx myself and then I won't be ready, but fuck it. We will have another release before the end of the year.
Nice.
I won't say what it is, but it's not the album, so... but we will have another release.
Nice.
That's more than one song.
I look forward to all of it. Yeah.
Thank you.
I look forward to all of them, man. Ever since I found you guys, I'm a fan. Huge fan.
Cool,
if
man.
anybody gets a chance, you have they currently have a music video for Daisies out that's really well produced, and then amazing artwork by both you and he are in that music video as well. So
thank you.
Anybody wants to check out the music and the art at the same time, that's one good way right there.
There you go.
All right, Rob. Well, I'm definitely going to have you back for another episode, brother.
Cool. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Stay creative, folks.